For the fourth problem on your worksheet, you may be wondering why I wrote this here. The only reason is because you might have thought that this was multiplied by 1/2. It's actually an exponent. So moving on to business, we start out with the left side of each number in scientific notation to get our digit. We've got a 3 cubed over a square root of 9. That simplifies down to 3 squared. Since we're taking the square root of the whole thing, we end up with just a 3. Digit is 3. If answer choice A were a 3, I would pick A. Don't even have to look at the exponent on the 10. Now, if you have more than one answer choice with the same digit, you have to do the rest of it. So if they do that to you, here's what we're going to do. 10 to the negative 1, and it's cubed. 10 to the 8th, and we're taking the square root of that. So, before we move on though, this 0.09, it's really best to fix it and make it a 9. Makes things simpler. And this 10, or this 10 to the 8th, is going to become a 10 to the 6th. So I'm going to write that again so it's more clean. We have 10, or 3, times 10 to the negative 1, and it's cubed. And we have 9 times 10 to the 6th, and we're taking the square root of that. That's the same thing as raising it to the 1/2, right? So we end up with a, if we look at the right sides here, 10 to the negative 3 over 10 to the 3rd, which equals 10 to the negative 6th. Since we are taking the square root of this whole thing, remember, we're going to end up with 10 to the negative 3. So the last thing we have to do here is just check and make sure that we have the decimal point okay on the left side of our number. So tentatively we have 3 times 10 to the negative 3, but we have to make sure that's really a 3 and not a 30 or a 0.03. So looking at this, you've got, just think common sense here. 3 cubed is going to be 9 times 3, and you have beneath it a square root of 9, which is a 3. That's 9. Since you're taking the square root of the whole thing, you really do end up with a 3, so you don't have to fix anything here. Your final answer then is going to be 3 times 10 to the negative 3.